Me, male 34, and fiancée, female 27. I am in the process of calling a halt to our wedding as she has asked for an open relationship. Alright folks, where to start? This one is tough to share and the paws are shaking as I'm doing it. As it says in the title, me and my fiancé, ex, are 34 and 27 respectively, have been together for nearly 4 years overall and are a year engaged. I'll be totally honest here. Just before we got engaged she had an emotional affair with a bloke that she worked with. I only found out because one of her friend's boyfriend contacted me and said that he overheard the friend group discussing it. I confronted her at the time, and after a good bit of arguing and hassle, we came to an agreement to let it go. I'll be totally honest in saying that I'm still slightly in the process of getting over that particular incident, and it discolored my view of her. I manned up, moved on and proposed, which I had planned on doing anyway. This is just to give an overall context here and indeed to let it be known that there has been issues in the past. Fast forward to recent time. We are due married in November, traveling abroad for it with family, and back around October she started acting a bit odd, distant, not herself, away with the fairies, even stopped having sex, which was very strange. I put it down to stress around organizing the wedding, and the fact that we had moved flats forward to Christmas time, and now things are coming to a head. I confronted her straight up, and she said out that she was sorry, has just been stressed. I was very considerate, and tried to help her through it. However, it basically continued on ebbing and flowing throughout the next 2 months, up to yesterday. I arrived in from work last night, and she says that she wants to talk. The vibe was bad guys, I could tell. We sat down and she said out that she had been reading, and that she wasn't having second thoughts about the marriage, but the nature of a relationship. At this rate I was getting a bit agitated, and demanded that she come out with what the bloody hell she meant. Basically, a few of her friends had back in October, the times matched up, conveyed to her the idea of an open relationship. Basically they stay with their blokes and have one night stands on nights out if they fancy. I'll be honest, the idea made me ill. I said this to her, and she asked to be heard out. Pulled out some online blog post by a blogger who had a husband and live-in boyfriend. I got halfway through and told her enough of this nonsense. I wouldn't consider myself old-fashioned, but a wife or fiancé bonking other men will never be in fashion, not in my world anyway. We got into a fight, and in the end she was begging me to give it a chance and that nothing is set in stone. I basically said that I needed some headspace, and that I'd spend the weekend at my mate's. It was quick after that, and I left without a fuss. I'm sharing this on my mate's laptop, and am in a bad mental way at the moment. I am seriously considering calling the whole thing off, both relationship and wedding. I suppose if anyone has been in a similar place I could do with some advice. TLDR, me, 34 years old male, and fiancé, 27 years old female. She asked for an open relationship and I am fuming. Update. I spent last night at my mate's, who was absolutely sound about the situation. He basically gave advice that was tantamount to what was given when I first shared the story, to call off the relationship. We had a few drinks, a bit of banter, and this morning I went back to the flat and confronted her. She was there. Neither I nor her work on Saturdays, and I set out my stake in as straightforward a manner I could. Basically, I said that I didn't want to continue with the relationship, and that it's better if we call the whole thing off. The wedding details are merely financial, and not too bad to call back. But at this rate we couldn't continue to be together as we clearly desired different things. She basically expressed what she felt then, that we still had a chance, that it could work, to give sexual freedom a chance. Look, I'm no crazy prude, but this crap just isn't up my alley at all. I basically said that over the weekend I'd be over to collect my things. It's rented flat in a town, no big obligation there, and that she can keep the place if she wants. I'll stay with my friend for a while, get myself sorted after. Towards the end we had a full-blown shouting argument. But I stood my ground and didn't change my course. Not this time boys and girls. I left, and there is nothing much more to say really. As I share, me and my mate are having a few cans, and my phone has been exploding since 5 o'clock with her friends, her sister calling me a prick and a sexist, for some reason. I'll be grand. Being totally frank, I feel a bit liberated, if that's not too cheesy. The coming days I'll get everything sorted, the moving and that. But as my father used to say, there is always freaking worse. Am I the unreasonable one for eating all the chocolate chips in my girlfriend's ice cream? I feel freaking batcrap that I even have to ask this, but here we go. My girlfriend's favorite flavor of ice cream is the rabbit one. Sea salt caramel with little chocolate caramel bunnies in them. She hates the chocolate chip bunnies, though, because she doesn't like biting into her ice cream. She keeps spying this specific brand because the brands she's tried that don't have the chunks in them don't taste as good. Her solution is that I can dig around and eat the bunnies as I see fit. and we've made so many rabbit jokes based on it. I bought her new bunny slippers, that she put, before wearing them, in the freezer as a practical joke when she asked me to get her some ice cream, for example. She doesn't care, I get some chocolate, whatever. However, with the world situation going on, my girlfriend has extended an open invitation to her roommate that she can eat my girlfriend's stuff and vice versa, so long as she asks first, so groceries last longer. While I was on the phone with my girlfriend, her roommate asked if she could have some ice cream and my girlfriend said no because it's got boyfriend backwash in it to tease me. Cue her roommate telling her that was disgusting and rude, and that I shouldn't pick through the ice cream just for the good parts and called me a disgusting pig. I got upset and told her that she's not freaking entitled to ice cream and she didn't pay for her. My girlfriend's roommate is crying and my girlfriend thinks I should have just let her get it all out, and I told her I wasn't going to let her roommate be an a-hole to me because I ate some ice cream. She called me a crotch and hung up on me, and I feel like crap. Also, to clarify, sorry, I left some stuff out for brevity. In the conversation my girlfriend did explain she doesn't like the chocolate bunnies, and that she said I could. After that is when her roommate called me disgusting and such. That being said, I've been thinking of all your comments and you all made me realize my girlfriend was a lot more verbally abusive than I'm comfortable with. Some of you messaged me privately and asked if she's ever gotten pissed and called me names before, told your stories, etc. And to those who did, thank you. You opened my eyes. I thought I had to deal with it because I'm a man, but after reading so many of you that reached out and told me how your girlfriends abused you similarly. As someone else said, it ain't about the ice cream, brother, it's about the disrespect. I won't be coming back to story, but thanks. Am I the unreasonable one for not being grateful for my boyfriend's birthday present to me? I am seriously glad this event was cancelled due to current events because I don't like anime. To begin, I found out recently my boyfriend was planning to surprise me for my birthday with a weekend pass to a huge anime convention in our city. This would be great, except for one tiny problem. I freaking hate anime. I don't like anime at all. I like Western cartoons better, and being half Japanese, I have had to put up with being hit on, creeped on, and fetishized by weebs since my teens. So as you can imagine, I've had some pretty miserable experiences at these kinds of places. So when my boyfriend said over Zoom chat the other day about how disappointed he was that his birthday surprise for me wasn't going to happen, I guess I didn't look happy enough because he noticed and asked what's wrong. I just said that okay with the convention being cancelled because I didn't want to do it for my birthday anyway. He then freaks out, and says that he spent a lot of money and that I'm being ungrateful because he worked hard to save up for those passes. Then he started going into how he can't surprise me with stuff like my sister's boyfriends do because he doesn't make nowhere near as much as them. So now my friends think that I'm being a spoiled, ungrateful bitch because I didn't like this surprise that he worked so hard to pay for and wanted me to experience because this is his hobby. I don't freaking care. I just don't want to waste my birthday at a place I never liked and never will. Heck, I would have been okay with staying home or going to the beach. And this whole wanting to share interests with me, it wouldn't be an issue if he isn't always wanting to bail on the stuff I want to do. I can't go to a theme park for Halloween because he is afraid of horror movies. I just stuck waiting with him when we went on a group trip to Six Flags because he was too scared to go on the roller coasters. I didn't even get to watch Midsummer when it was in theaters because he didn't want to go and I ended up wasting that weekend watching him and his friends play video games. Am I the unreasonable one here? I feel like I'm going insane. I found out that my 27 years old male, GF, 23 years old female, of 9 months is part of Mean Girls type clique and am reconsidering the relationship. I met this girl I'll call Katie at a school event about a year ago and we really clicked and soon made things official. I understand that I saw things partly through rose-colored glasses, but I really liked this girl to the point that I started thinking she might be the one. We just matched well on every level, have similar hobbies, but importantly I thought she was a really good and kind person. Now something happened that really made me reevaluate things. We were sitting in bed and she was texting and laughing about something. I glanced at the phone and saw the Tinder profile of a guy, which made me think WTF. When she went to take a shower, I am not super proud of this, I admit I snooped given what I thought I saw and checked her phone. When her phone opened up it turns out that she wasn't on Tinder, but rather on a group chat with some friends and the Tinder pic was a screenshot. Of course that was a relief, but the rest of the context was just as bad in some ways. The group chat was basically a one-topic channel, where the theme was roasting the guys they hooked up with or were dating, and it was very explicit, talking about specific guys, together with their pics and joking about their inadequacy and better even how ill-endowed they were. As far as I scrolled I wasn't featured on there, but I saw Katie herself write really mean comments, for example about a guy her friend was with who got emotional during sex. basically calling him a pathetic loser. I was just shocked to read those comments, because it seemed so out of character for her. When she got back in the room, I fessed up to the snooping and confronted her. Surprisingly, she wasn't really mad, but she also wasn't remorseful in the least. She said the chat was with her closest friends and they always talked about everything. I told her I thought it was really screwed up to talk this way about other people, especially since it wasn't just randos. I recognized a few mutual friends discussed on there in an explicit way, and I am sure they didn't consent to that information being discussed. But again, she got really defensive, said those were her closest friends and what they talk about is their business. I asked her if she talked about us as well, and she refused to answer. The conversation kind of tapered off at that point since we both realized we were too emotional and not getting anywhere, but I still feel very uncomfortable with the situation. I am afraid to be overreacting, but I am very seriously thinking about ending the relationship. I can't believe I am dating someone who thinks it's okay to treat other people this way and join in the public humiliation of people who did nothing wrong. But I would like some outside perspective from others if they've been in any kind of similar situation and or if they think I am blowing this out of proportion. TLDR, my GF is part of a kind of group chat where they roast guys they've been with, including by sharing private information. The situation makes me extremely uncomfortable to the point that I feel I want to end the relationship. Am I irrational for putting my mother and auntie on a timeout for sharing photographs of my daughter with the dad's family? I have a baby. The father is not involved, and never will be. His family want to be involved, and I've said no, which has led to them pushing some serious boundaries, mainly harassment, and they've also been contacting my relatives asking for their help to stay involved in my child's life. My relatives have been respectful of my feelings and haven't tried to force anything, but there's been the occasional "I just don't see what the issue is" or "the child needs people who love them," and I have responded that I am the mother, and I have my reasons, citing the harassment as just one, and they've mostly backed off, though some responded that the harassment is a testament to how much they care for my child. I gave birth in March. I'm not allowing visits, but I've been talking to various relatives about the baby. A few have asked for pictures. I have made a point of not posting anything about the birth on social media, so as to avoid the father's family pulling any crap, making woe is me type posts about me not letting them see the baby or them reposting baby pictures. I know some of my relatives, despite knowing my feelings, are still in touch with the father's family, but I wasn't sure who, so when they all asked for pictures I decided to send them all different ones. I sent all the pictures within an hour of each other as individual messages. Sure enough, the very next day the father's mother posted 2 photos of my daughter on her Facebook page along with a "woe is me" caption about how she loves my daughter and she hopes that one day I'll finally allow them to meet. I compared the photos she posted to the ones I sent, and identified the sources as my aunt and mother. I messaged both of them asking how she got the photos, and they both admitted to sending their respective photos to her. I've responded that I hoped they liked the photos because they wouldn't be getting any more info on my daughter for another 6 months. I've made clear before now that I don't want them involved or getting any information, and that if I couldn't trust people who are meant to be on my side with information on my daughter, then the solution here would be to stop giving them any information. And when they argued, I said any further argument would double the time. This has gone round the extended family and no one is on my side, saying I'm taking it too far and willingly reducing my daughter's extended family even further. I was certain I was doing the right thing, but now my roommate, boyfriend, and sister, who are the only people to know my full reasoning, have said they're unsure about my actions. They all still agree I should keep his family out, but feel 6 months is too much for a first offense and that I'll alienate my extended family further by doing this. Am I the unreasonable one? Am I the unreasonable one for telling my mom that she owed me an apology after accusing me of lying about my injury? Happened, 18F, before Rona. One day in high school, then 16, during PE we were running track and jumping over hurdles. I tripped and fell over one really hard. I had to finish the run for my grade. I had a strict teacher that wouldn't take quitters, so I tried again and fell even harder, with my entire body weight falling on my right ankle. I was in an incredible amount of pain, but still finished. I was limping the rest of the day and I wanted to go home early, but I had a quiz for one of my classes that I couldn't miss, so I finished out the whole day until my mom could pick me up. The ankle I fell on started swelling up to the size of a softball, and my skin was badly bruised. My mom helped me ice it. After a few hours of sitting, I couldn't walk anymore. The pain was tremendous. I had to hop on one foot and grab the walls to move. I told my mom that I should probably see a doctor because I was feeling worse. She asked me to walk in front of her as proof. She laughed and said, "I'm sorry, but it looks like you're faking it. You look like a re." I couldn't believe she said that. I'm clumsy, but I always downplayed everything before. I said this was unusually bad and I wasn't faking. She said she didn't have time or money to take me to a doctor. Understandable. Didn't have health insurance at the time, but that she'd buy me crutches/brace. She said she'd also twisted an ankle before and that I'd be fine, especially since I walked for hours after it happened. My dad called her insane for not taking me to the ER since it looked like I'd broken my ankle. She ridiculed him and said no, he couldn't take me because he lives far away. I used crutches for school the next day and I told the gym coaches what happened. Surprisingly, they were extremely understanding. They excused me from PE for the remainder of the semester because one of them said he strongly believed I'd broken something and should get it checked out. I could walk independently after 2 days and recovered quickly. However, my ankle was, and still is, swollen and looks deformed. For months after, I didn't have much pain, but had trouble walking. I re-injured my ankle many times and fell down frequently. After I fell down 2 flights of stairs, my dad had enough and didn't care what my mom said. He was taking me to the doctor. Almost a year after the injury, everyone was stunned when the x-rays came back. Turns out I'd fractured my right fibula and tore 2 ligaments, had bone pieces floating and didn't heal correctly. He suggested surgery, but my parents said no, so we chose physical therapy instead. My dad said I told you so to my mom and she couldn't believe it was that bad. I said she owed me an apology for accusing me of lying. She got huffy saying she didn't need to apologize, her mistake was justified and that she'd never harm me on purpose. Still salty that she called me a though. Was I being rude? Am I the unreasonable one for wanting a child-free bedroom? My partner, 33 years old male, and I, 25 years old female, have been together over a year and living together. He has a daughter 6 from a previous relationship and she's a sweet kid, but she doesn't listen. I try not to get involved in any of the discipline as it's not really my place, but there have been a few occasions where I've spoken to her about her behavior. She has an annoying habit of going through my stuff, even in front of me, and doesn't listen when I have told her countless times to give it back and to always ask before touching someone else's things. I've also gotten her father to speak to her about going into my things. He seemed to understand, but seemed almost annoyed that I wasn't okay with her doing this. The main problem is that she's ruined quite a lot of my makeup brushes, which are expensive to replace, and ruined a lot of powders and blushes by mixing things together or digging her fingers into them. Even after my partner spoke to her, I came to my bedroom and my partner was watching TV/playing a game and she was going through my things again. He was paying no attention to what she was doing. I told him if she's going to be in our bedroom then he needs to pay attention to what she's doing because I can't afford to keep replacing things. I want to say to him that I want our bedroom to be a child-free zone if she won't listen and he can't supervise. Am I the unreasonable one if I do this? I just don't want to end up resenting him and his daughter when more of my things inevitably get ruined. Trying to be a step-parent is already overwhelming for me, but it's harder when my belongings aren't being respected. I have also had jewelry broken, books damaged, my clothes all taken out my drawers. TLDR, partner's daughter is going through my belongings and breaking things. Would I be the a-hole to request a child-free bedroom? Would I be the unreasonable one for not paying the movers after they crashed their truck with my stuff inside? I pretty much know what I will do already, but my girlfriend thinks I'd be a massive a-hole if I do. So I finally moved states after my work situation became solidified. I'm already in my new place with my essentials, but I hired a small local moving company from my old place to load up all my large belongings, couch, TVs, bed frame, fridge, etc. Moving day comes along and I get a call from the mover saying a couple cities shy of my new place they were in an accident and their truck got put on its side. Not something I really wanted to deal with while at work, but apparently one of their guys got injured, so I would need to make arrangements to collect my stuff right away. Luckily, I was able to find another moving company that was able to collect my belongings ASAP and have them delivered without much issue. But it did cost me more than it should. Most of my stuff was packed well and did fine, but my TV will need to be replaced. A little over a week passed and I didn't want to bother the old movers with my TV expense, but then the owner had the audacity to reach out asking for the rest of what I owed. He gave me the sob story of how they're a small company, their truck got totaled, and their injured employee was actually family. Yeah, I get it. I basically told him to F off. I said if I hired them to bake a cake and they flipped it over on the street on the way to deliver it, how the hell would I be expected to pay for their efforts? Especially when I had to pay someone else to do their job for them. He tried to push the issue, but when I brought up contesting the credit card payment for the upfront charge and contesting our moving contract to collect damages on the TV, he dropped it. My girlfriend thinks just because I could afford to pay them it's not a big deal and I should just be the bigger person. But I don't think their well-being is my responsibility. Why do I need to pay someone for a job they didn't even complete just because they're having a hard time? But whatever, let me know if you think I'm the unreasonable